Hey everybody out there, this is Seto. Today for you guys I'm with my friend Will, and he's going to be profiled for today his Speedroid deck, and I thought you guys would enjoy a deck profile of Speedroids. And without further ado, I'll let Will take over. So,
alright.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me once again, buddy. This deck, it was 43 cards. I'm going to let you guys know that in advance. The deck normally sorts itself out relatively quickly, and there are a couple of tech cards that, while you don't have to run them, given Speedroid's current positions, you might want to, so they can actually play somewhat competitively.
I understand. So there's 43 cards in the deck, right?
43.
Yep.
So without further ado, let's get into the profile. We play 3 Speedroid double yo-yo. I personally would not recommend anything less for, well, a lot of us is not familiar with Speedroids, let's be honest. If you guys remember Junk Synchron, his effect is you target one level 3 or lower Speedroid and special summon it. This only works though when he's normal summoned.
Do you have a question about my deck?
The next card we run, most people who do play Speedroids don't like running this, but I play the one Menko.
Yep.
What Speedroid Menko does, if you have no monsters on your field and your opponent declares an attack, you special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, all attack position monsters they control go into defense mode. So it's not as good as Battle Fader because they still have the battle phase, but you're not doing anything with defense monsters anyway.
Understood.
Unless you play Mask Heroes, then I'm sad. And this, the mandatory 3 of, possibly the MVP of this deck.
Is that Tarot Top?
Tarot Top.
Yep.
What this card does, if I control no monsters, he acts like Cyber Dragon, and if he's normal or special summoned, you search for any monster with the word Speedroid in its name and put it from deck to hand.
Gotcha.
Next we play 3 Speedroid Takamon. You could get away with only playing 2, but I personally like the 3. What this card does, if you control a wind monster, you can special summon him from the hand, and you contribute him to special summon one Speedroid monster, one Speedroid tuner from the deck, but if you do so, you can only go into wind monsters that turn.
Understood. That works.
He also combos very nicely with double yo-yo. If you have him in graveyard, you can just special summon him, get 3-eyed dice, and go into, well, Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Next we play 3 Speedroid Red-Eyed Dice. This is another perfect target for Speedroid double yo-yo.
I don't know why, but that card gives me the creeps. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just gives me the creeps for some reason, that eye.
Yeah, he's pretty freaky. His effect is pretty freaky too. When this card is normal or special summon, I target one Speedroid you control, you pick a level 1 through 6, it becomes that level until the end of the turn. So this is in graveyard, summon double yo-yo, grab it back, make Black Rose, you can go into level 5, a level 6. You can even go into Formula if you like running that.
Understood.
The next card that we run, this is another 3 of 3 Speedroid Tri-Eyed Dice. Our favorite 3-eyed dice toy. What this card does, it essentially replaces Necro Gardener for those of us who actually like that card, and he's a tuner.
Makes sense.
You play 3 of them because it makes your synchros harder to kill, and once again,
well, yeah, they can't run over it and stuff like that.
perfect target for double yo-yo. Next, I play 2 Effect Veiler. Needs the deck does like monster negation with cards to worry about, like Summoner Monks going into Dark Law. You really do not want to deal with that. This does actually stop Telemaeus from making Infinity and just overall monster negation. Next, I run these as basically a quote-unquote mini engine. One quick draw synchron, one floor synchron, and then the main guy, Gen X Neutron.
Now, I've seen him play this before, and me and him were discussing about this. When the new stuff comes out for Speedroids, you were saying like there's some new stuff coming out. I know, that you may take the engine out, but I've seen him play this deck, and I've played against it before. It actually works out well. It's a nice little tech in the deck. So, yeah, explain it more about it, Will.
What Gen X Neutron does, unfortunately, you do have to wait until the end phase and he needs to be on board. But what happens is that he's allowed to search for any machine tuner in your deck during the end phase.
Yeah.
What I normally like to go for is Quick Draw Synchron. As you can remember from Quick Draw Dandy, discard one card, special summon it from hand. It combos really nicely with Terriotop, because you just special summon Terriotop, search three-eyed dice, you pitch the three-eyed dice to summon Quick Draw Synchron, and you can go into stuff like Junk Berserker or Fleur Synchron while still having Tuner Necro Gardener in graveyard. And then this I personally like because if you have a random level 6 Synchro, you can Synchro into it with your level 8s. And it does have a nifty effect where if it's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can special summon one level 1 monster from your hand. I actually checked wrong on this. If Red-Eyed Dice gets special summoned off of Fleur Synchron, it does not miss timing so long as you have a Speedroid target.
Interesting. Very interesting, I have to admit.
And then while most people don't like running this card, I do play 2 Oja Kid. Now, what he does is that you take a look at either player's graveyard, you technically, quote-unquote, borrow the tuner, and then immediately synchro summon into a wind monster. So sometimes what I like to do is that if I have a deck quick draw, I pitch it off of random discard outlets, summon this, bring it back, go into Fleur Synchron, or, and this is actually how I beat an Infernoid player, he had a random Raiden, the Lightsworn tuner in there.
Yeah.
I borrowed this one straight into Clearwing. He was not able to get over it. That's it for the monsters. Now for the spells, I play 3 Shock Surprise. What this card does is that you banish up to 2 Speedroids and you target up to 2 cards on field, blow them up. This works against Pendulum Scales. It's good for mass removal, so you can just sneak in your attacks.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason you do have interest in interactions where you'd want to blow up your own cards, we'll explain that later on. Next, the mandatory 3/3 Speed Recovery.
Good card.
What Speed Recovery does, it's essentially Monster Reborn, and then it has a graveyard effect. On the following turn, you can banish it. You target 1 Speedroid in your graveyard and put it back in your hand. This is also another reason why I only play 1 Speedroid Menko. Thanks to this, if I ever felt I needed a second one, I can just
use it
again. And this thing is pretty disgusting when combined with Terriotop.
True.
2 MSTs, pure and simple back row destruction. The deck, in my opinion, currently doesn't support Twin Twister.
You just don't get a lot of benefit off of it or gain enough advantage, I'm guessing you're saying, to use Twin Twister effectively. I understand.
Once you get some of the new Speedroid cards, I can see Speedroid players wanting to play Twin Twister, but for now, I would personally stick with MST.
Understood.
Some one-off spells, 1 Gold Shark, 1 Different Dimension Reincarnation, 1 Quill Pin, 1 Burial from a Different Dimension.
And the Foolish, yep.
And Foolish Burial.
So you want to explain some of these?
Right. With Gold Sark, as you already know, you banish any card in your deck. In 2 turns, you get it back. What people don't sometimes remember is that we have a Synchro where if it gets sent to the graveyard for any reason, any banished Speedroid monster just goes right back to your hand.
Oh, so it's literally a free search. Which card would that be exactly? I forget off the top of my head.
That would be High Speedroid Chambara.
Ah, okay, so I see where you're going with that.
Right, so 70% of the time, whatever it is I banish off of this, I just get it right back anyway. And then you don't have to play this, but I personally like it because it's an extra discard outlet. You target one of your banished Speedroids, as you see with the triple Shock Surprise that is going to happen.
True.
You just bring the monster right back to the field. And then with Quill Pen, with Speedroids, you basically have one of the 2 options you can do with the deck. You can either just go for quote-unquote blood, try to sack your opponent, get in some sneaky attacks and go home, or try to spam the board. Both variants will suggest you'll run out of your resources quickly. So you play this to basically recover, and if your opponent has a card on board you want to get rid of, put it back in the hand. Simple banish recovery.
Understood.
And put Terrio top where it needs to be.
Yep. Self-explanatory.
2 breakthrough skill. Nobody likes Dark Law and Infinity like at all. Well, I like Dark Law, but not when he's against me.
No.
Double Phoenix Wing Blast. My deck kind of works with the graveyard a lot, so pitching doesn't always come back to haunt me if I pitch at certain times. And then 3 one-of traps, one called the Haunted. It's cute with Terrio top, you don't have to run it, but it's helped me win a lot of games. 1 Magic Drain, good against Pendulum Scales, weakens Raigeki, a good response to problem cards. And Solemn Warning is Solemn Warning.
Solemn Warning, yep.
That's it for the main deck. I don't have a perfected side deck for this, so I wouldn't want to show you guys that just yet.
Oh, that's fine.
For the extra deck, we play 2 Chambara. As I said, his graveyard effect allows you to bring back your banished Speedroids, and he can attack twice, not just involving monsters. So if you go Shock Surprise and they have no monsters on board, you attack for 22, then you attack for 24.
Gotcha.
And then 1 Speedroid Kendama, you could play 2, but I personally don't. 2 effects, you banish a random machine. That's another reason why you like Gen X Neutron and Quick Draw Synchron. They're free banish machine targets. Burn them for 500. And if I control no monsters, I'm not allowed to normal summon or set during the turn I do this, but it does come back. That has been relevant against Fire King players. I don't always go into this a lot, but 1 TJ Hyper Librarian, Synchro deck, why not? 1 Elder Entity Haster. Thanks to me running Elja Kit, I just pluck a Veil from my graveyard and make this. If this card is sent from field to graveyard for any reason, even if I use my Synchro material, I equip them to my opponent's monster, they can't attack with it. And then if it leaves the board, aka Quill Pin or Shock Surprise, it's my monster permanently.
So it's kind of like, I guess you could say a brain control, like a, not brain control necessarily, but change of heart?
Change of heart.
Kind of, in a way.
It's a cute
I've seen people use that a lot, and I've thought about using it too. It's actually not a bad card.
1 Red Wyvern, a good first turn play, doesn't target, so it's an actual Cosmos ship. And this plus Clearwing, I have almost never lost unless they Raigeki me.
So it doesn't target, right? Is that
it doesn't target. Okay. And as long as there's a monster on board that has more attack than this, it destroys the monster with the highest attack on field. So do be careful. If you get crazy, it can blow up your own stuff. But if you have a Clearwing and this on board and they say summon a 26 or higher, you just blow it up and then Clearwing is like near untouchable.
I've done that before.
1 Black Rose. It's a good sack for a double yo-yo and red-eye dice and tri-eye dice. The star of the deck, I don't run more than 1 Clearwing just because I do play the Quill Pin, and whenever I summon this guy, I've almost like never had a need for a second one.
So you've only found yourself going into 1 Clearwing. Gotcha. Beautiful ghost.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And instead of the second Clearwing, if you want to run 2 Clearwing, that's up to you.
Yeah, this
I personally like Zeta.
That card is actually not a bad card. It's a card that I've even tried out, guys, before. Definitely look into Zeta. He's not bad.
It's not a card that you would want to make first turn, but basically what it is that if your opponent has a attack position monster that was special summoned, you banish both that and this until the end of your next standby phase. So what I've done before is that whenever my opponent would have, let's say, this on board, in attack position, I just summon Zeta, banish both, bring it back, attack any over monster, and then just keep banishing.
Yep. It's like a circle in a sense.
Let's go for a ride.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And your Omega.
1 Stardust and 1 Omega. Stardust just to lock my opponent out of Raigeki. It's a wind monster, and some of my Speedroid cards will lock me into only winds.
And Stardust is a wind, and people forget that.
Omega, oh my goodness. If you were a wind or had Speedroid in the name, I don't think you could be any better for this deck. You get to recycle my banished Teriotops. You get to recycle my banished Speed Recoveries when I banish it to bring back a Speedroid in hand. Omega's just beautiful. Never mind the whole just plucking a random card out of my opponent's hand, getting information. And if you kill this thing, I can just shuffle a random card and bring him back? Omega, you should not have been generic, but thank you anyway. For the next two synchros, we play one Chevalier de Fleur and one Junk Destroyer. Now, just in case we forgot how exactly I would actually ever go into these two, that's what Quick Draw Synchron is for.
It's 15 card extra deck, right, Will?
15 card extra deck.
Sure.
This, just in case I want to blow up an extra card, this, although it's not Sheen, it's like perfect against back row heavy decks, especially if you went Shock Surprise earlier to blow up two of their back rows. They only have like one or two responses, and they have to waste both on this.
True that.
And once again, being wind, it's perfect if you go Quill Pin, just shuffle this in a random wind back, and if you have Hastor in hand, just make this check all over again. One Mistworm, just for that random level 9 play. You can target up to 3 monsters.
Would you run Trish instead if you owned it? I know you have talked about that before.
I'm not gonna lie, it's player preference.
But it is a win though, so I mean, I understand the difference there, yeah.
That's mainly the reason why I would prefer Mistworm over Trish, but if you're not running the whole, I guess you can say Genox Neutron engine and you find room for Trish, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're gonna be locked into wins most of the time until we get the new cards, so for now, Mistworm just kind of won out.
Understood. Just something I want to bring up because I know somebody may ask that question.
Of course.
Yep.
And then for the final synchro, one Leo.
Yep.
Thanks to Terrytop and Double Yo-Yo. Why can I never remember that guy's name?
Oh, I know what you mean. Double Yo-Yo or Terrytop?
Yeah. There's basically like a one-card combo that allows you to go into this. You special summon Terrytop. You search for Double Yo-Yo. And then if you have this guy engraved still, which is why you also run him at 3, you bring him out, you synchro all 3 to make Leo.
Triad dice. Yep, and then you make your Leo like that. Okay.
This combo also works with Red Eye Die, but don't disrespect the Necro card.
True. Anything else you'd like to say about the deck, Will?
While the deck is not always super competitive, you can get somewhat bricky. The main thing to keep in mind is that you always want to go second with this deck.
Always? You need that 6 card, I'm guessing. Is that correct?
Not necessarily the 6 card, but especially with the way that I built my deck, you want the ability to attack your opponent as fast and maybe as hard as you can. If you could attack effectively on the first turn, then by all means, just go first, but that's against the rules, right?
Yeah, last time I checked.
No, you could, yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Will, so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say? I'm sorry, I think did I interrupt you?
Yep. Let's see, can I do a good Hugo impression?
Go right ahead
It's
if you can.
Hugo, not Fusion!
Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you so much, Will, man. And until next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. I'll see you guys next time.